August garden, front bed, or plants I put in for the front. Dahlias are smaller than expected, and we have a larger centerpiece, which I guess I was going to have anything. It's now over 5 foot tall. I think this one on the end is tallest because it gets the most direct sunlight through the day. But it's still nice, even if it's not quite the dahlia hedge I was kind of hoping to produce. On the side, driveway bed. This is our lace cap hydrangea. Doing well. I fought the idea that this was some other macrophylla type of hydrangea, but I've come to the resolution it's lace cap. My daylilies are now done blooming. We actually have a dahlia that has a couple blooms right there. We have our lavender, which is trying to bloom again a little bit. I had some smaller snapdragons in that. I think they've died. My pansies are holding on, though the heat we've had this past couple weeks has not been nice. My California poppies are going to seed. So these are the seed heads and they pop open. So we'll maybe get some naturalization. I've collected some of those seed pods as well. This is vinca. I've got another dahlia in the back with a straw flower in front starting to bloom. My zinnias are doing really well over here, enjoying those. I probably could have put them a little bit more in the back so they'd have a little bit more of a hedge feel to them, but look how beautiful. And then I had a surprise with some gladiolas that stayed through the winter. I don't even remember having this beautiful purple. I don't know if you guys can even see it. I'll try to get a better picture. And then my purple cone flowers, as you can see, they're kind of getting bullied by the sedum. So I think come fall, I'm gonna move them out some so that next year they can hold their own a little bit better. The hollyhock finished blooming. It was pretty. I definitely think I might have more next time. My sunflowers are doing well over here. What is noticeably absent here? No rose. So she's back there somewhere, not doing a good job. So as you can see, no rose on that side. I have a feeling I'm going to give them one more season to see if they come back, or I'm going to transplant or rip them out and put a different climbing item in there, because they're just, the whole point of this beautiful trellis was have a rose full of flowers on it. And this is the year I was expecting to see it, and as you guys can see, nothing. So back down here where there's some actual progress, more zinnia. My sedums are starting to get a little pink in the tips. Can you guys see that? So they're getting close to bloom. We'll see if it survives. Down there is a garden phlox, and then I've got my super bells that I was hoping for a little bit more filled in, but these guys are doing well. It's just the one that was in the middle here, as you guys can see, hasn't really done a whole lot. What I'm kind of perplexed by is I had to put up a string for my snapdragons. They were flopped all the way over, and some of them don't mind it, and then other ones hate it. I didn't do anything to them. I didn't rough them up. I just put a string around them to help keep them off of the ground, and several have just taken to not wanting to live. They've given up the will to live. So that sucks. But I do have some new blooms coming off of this one, so that's really pretty. And I've got some more right here. Again, some are doing okay. Down there, I have some candy tuft, which you can't see, but filling in okay. More iris. My daisies are starting to put on some growth. So hopefully we'll start to see some stalks coming up soon. Again, more snapdragons, not too happy about the weather. Another straw flower tucked back there. These were the gladdies that I overwintered, and they were all growing out of the thing. So I just popped them in some pots real quick to see if I could keep them. And so far I've got one stalk of bloom. So nice little pretty yellow over here. We'll see if any of the other ones do anything. But what I'll do this year is I'll just put them in the ground so that they overwinter. I have some feverfew. Isn't that beautiful? Cute little thing. These are calendula, I believe that's the correct terminology. Gazania down here. I think these are white night lobelia. I think that's what that is. It's funny because this isn't planted in the front. He's actually planted back here, but because he laid down, he's popped himself up, but I'll take the blooms. So, another straggler of a snapdragon. Then I have more straw flower, a few more dahlias. Down here somewhere amongst the mess is an aster, but we'll see if it does anything or not. More calendula. This one is also leaning on top of some stuff. It's actually kind of sitting on top of some dianthus that has just never decided to bloom, and I don't know if it's why, because the other parts of them are blooming. See how some are blooming down there, and then there's one not blooming, two not blooming. So don't know what's going on with that. Then I have more snapdragon that I've actually kind of forced it into the coreopsis because I'm tired of everything falling down on top of its front friend. And the coreopsis has already done one set of blooms. We're getting ready for a second flush. My salvia I cut, and it is flushing in some spots. And then I have some aster coming in. My dianthus, again, I don't know why these are blooming. This one's not. It hasn't bloomed all year, but it looks great, so I don't know why. And my violas, which are trying to hang on in the heat. So, kind of a back shot so over see it. So like I said, kind of sad that I don't have roses growing all up the trellis. So we'll kind of see what happens. Very green right now, and I think next year I really like this white night, so I'm going to do that probably all the way down because it fills in really pretty. It gives me some punch where I need it, because otherwise to the eye there's a lot going on here, but in video it just feels kind of flat. Which, by the way, I will show you, the roses are here. They're just not doing anything. They just don't like whatever's going on with the situation, which sucks. It sucks. So that is our driveway bed. All right, my side wall fence, hope for a dahlia hedge. Again, everything is so small. I don't know what's going on, if it's not enough sunlight or what have you, because I thought they got a lot of sun, but in the morning it comes from here, so they're blocked here, and then I thought by noon they're, you know, pretty much ready to go. But then this large tree takes quite a bit of the sun out because the sun goes more like this and not straight overhead. So maybe they're not getting enough sun, but we are getting some sunflowers on some smaller versions here. The little mini sunflowers, same variety, just bloomed early for whatever the reason was. We're getting close to having blooms on these guys. He's thinking about it. And then coming possibly next year, what I'm thinking I'm going to try to do is get some as tall as I can afford them, arborvitae, and put them here, 3 or 4, so I don't have to have this again next year, just so that our neighbors can have their pool time in peace and we can sit and relax and not have to stare at somebody swimming in their swimming pool. Oh, look who I have here on this cloudy, cool day. Hi, friend. Always glad to see bees. What I am happy to see are that my hedges over here are doing really well. They've got some good growth on them. Kind of show you here. So this is kind of where it's starting to turn the bark color. And then we still have lots of green of that fresh new growth. And they all look like that. They all have nice tips coming up. He's easily 4 foot tall, this guy right here. And then the smaller ones are also showing a good bit of growth. So hopefully this was the year to get them really going, and we'll see them punch up in the next couple years. This house is a great home. It's actually a 2-family, so we rent our upstairs out. And I don't know yet if we're staying here all the time. So I go back and forth with how much I put into the yard, but privacy hedge is good for everybody. I would say this bed has been a little bit of a struggle this year. I was really hoping to not only define it, but fill it in, and I definitely have not gotten that far. And it stays shaded-ish, partial shade, but it's actually quite dry for all the wood chips that are in there. And I don't know if it's because the tree takes up a lot of the moisture, but I've actually had struggles with keeping things moist. And you can kind of tell, because I've got some people who've been suffering. Poor guy. This is my primrose, was looking gorgeous this year, and we'll find out if it makes it. And my English daisies are looking kind of rough for wear too. See how small my bleeding hearts are? They never really got very big this year. I'm just glad they came back up. Oh yes, and this little dead plant, half dead, mostly dead, is a columbine. It was beautiful, but I don't know if a pest got to it or my lack of experience. I also have some pansies that I have surprisingly kept alive in a pot. My coral bells thought would be bigger. They're still kind of small in my opinion, but you know, not bad. This is a naturalized lungwort, which I don't even water it because they're so prolific. So I just kind of let it be, and it's still pretty though. I have been trying to take extra care of my hostas because it's been dry here in Maine. We're actually in a drought considered. So hopefully today and this week we'll get some much needed rain. So this is a plantain lily hosta. Been in the ground. This will be its 2nd year in my yard. I took a piece of it from my neighbor, so they had a nice established one. So starting to do good, and lots of new little growth in the inside, so you know it's doing well. But try to give it lots of water to make sure it has no reason to suffer. I love astilbe. They're really cool looking with their foliage and their flower, but they need a lot of water. So we'll see if this one makes it or not. It's really pretty kind of pink color, but I feel like I have to water it a lot more than I was expecting to. Then I have a little dianthus and a carpet phlox right here. And then this beauty is my Woo La La. Again, trying to give her lots of water to establish. This is the 1st year for this one. Trying to make sure she's good. Here is actually one of the first beds I ever created. We have a slope to our land, so I just made a retaining wall so that this would be its own thing. The bleeding hearts were in here originally, and I took them out last year and changed them up because I didn't think they were thriving. And the only thing that's really in here this year is tulips. And so they came up, did well. And I tried to plant a little lime hydrangea, which you can't see it anymore because we ripped it out. She died. But what I do have in here that something, whether it be a squirrel or a woodchuck, just keeps trying to eat, are these canterbury canterbury bells. So I put some in here to see if I can get anything to come there. And this guy is actually remnants of the tree we had cut down this year. So he's been popping up all over the yard trying to stay alive. So we'll see what I do with this bed. It's basically non-existent at this point besides the tulips, and I may actually dig the tulips up, and maybe I'll take this and not make it a bed, just have it as a retaining wall, and then maybe I'll put my seating over here. I'm not really sure yet, so to be determined. And my favorite part of the yard, I worked really hard on this year, still very much not done. Where the tree used to be, new garden bed. Lots of learning with this one for sure. So the base of it is full of rocks and dirt. Like this is the original ground that we're used to. We topped it with the ground up wood chips from the tree. We put compost on it. So I thought it'd be nice and kind of mostly healthy, and it's done well, but definitely going to need to add more dirt and soil so that it becomes more of a soil-based bed, not so much wood chips. So the one thing we're learning right now, these pansy violas, I don't know if it's heat or water problems, but so much of them have died off, and they actually, I just think, make the front of my bed look like garbage right now. So I'm considering just pulling them up for the year. They never got as full as I wanted them to. Again, it could have just been the soil they were in, but just didn't do anything really. And then behind that, we do have some snapdragons that did come in and do pretty well. I do have some petunias, which, to be honest, petunias are the easiest flower. If you're learning to garden, start with petunias. It'll give you a ego boost. My cotton candy spireas doing well. I think what's nice, not spirea. Is it a spirea? Yeah, it is, sorry. Is that they're finally thickening up here on the top. So when I first got them, they had nice tall stalks. The heat basically defoliated them down. So now they're looking a little wonky, like the top is thicker than the bottom, but I'm happy to see the growth come in. Like this one you can see. Definitely. Looking a little wonky. So, anyway, we have on this side more snapdragon, more petunias. These ones I have been fertilizing. No, I didn't fertilize this week actually, but they're just not getting as thick as some of the other ones. I don't know if it's, again, watering or fertilizing. Like this little guy, he just will not pick up and go. But the one next to him is like twice his size. What's up with that? Bubblegum is always a very prolific one. My friend Kate from Birch Salt has a crazy size hedge of this kind, and she uses proven winter fertilizer. I have started, and so I think it's helped, but I have been dealing with nibblers in my garden, so it's been hard to keep up with flowers when you have woodchucks constantly eating your progress. But from this view, that's really pretty. I enjoy this variety a lot. They stay really tight and clumped. And then this variety is doing similar to the bubblegum where it legs itself out. But what I like about it, as you guys can see, it is intermingling amongst the pink, and I really, really enjoy that view. Top side, it's not as pretty, but from the side like this, I think it looks really nice. My zinnias, I placed them too sporadically. In the front bed, I clumped them together, and I should have done the same. Sorry guys, pause for a biker coming through. My zinnias have not done super well in this one. They're doing okay, but I should have put them closer together so that they could really make a statement. My cosmos on this side, a little smaller than my cosmos on that side. You can see how tall these ones are, but I still enjoy the wispiness of them. I moved all of my red snapdragons and whites that were here, so I clumped them here, and I put a few on the other side, and I changed this to marigolds. I just really enjoy the tall structure this gives, very wispy, as you guys can see. Oh, there's another one. Hi, friend. Then I have some more feverfew kind of tucked in the back here. My osteospermum, this is an annual in my area, but she's just taken over. I lost a dianthus here, and it's covering a dianthus, a Sweet Williams that's back here. I don't know, it's supposed to make it. We'll see what happens. And again, more tetra or feverfew. It's a beautiful flower. This one zinnia, for some reason, really likes its life. It's thick and big, lots of bulbs. The rest in this bed are one-stalked, puny-looking things. So, just to see what I got over here, I've got some snapdragons, some more zinnia. I've got some garden phlox, more dianthus. This tall guy there is a bearded tongue. This is naturalized from whatever was here. And then I do have some celosia. This guy right here, it's a celosia grass. I was hoping they'd be kind of filled in, and that might look really cool against the little fountain, which I have not been running because it's too hot, drains it out too quickly. And my viburnum, which does not bloom, probably because it doesn't get near enough light in this location. From what I read, it looks like it just needs a lot more light, but I still love it as it's being green. My clematis, purple fountain grass, my baptisia, which almost died completely this year. I have more dianthus, that is a straw flower, lilies, those are beautiful this year. More phlox, my peony, my little grove of sunflowers, my one little gladiola that's stuck back here I forgot to dig up, and more fountain grass. I'm hoping this gets to full size so it really caps the ends of this tall bed. So we'll see. It needs wood needs to be painted. I need to really work on freshening up the look of this bed. This is from my neighbor, a bunch of iris and lilies, snapdragons. Here is some more daisies and aster. Little Dusty Miller snuck in there. More aster. There's my white snapdragons that I moved. And some more daisies. So hopefully this in fall will look a little nicer, but this right now is just kind of playing around, getting the hang of the size of the bed and what can I use to make it look good. Coming around this side, I do have some lemon thyme that we're going to try to see if we can get that to be a perennial here. And then I have a bunch of alyssum, which just again, the heat made it hard to keep it watered. So it'll probably bounce back in this cooler week, but right now everything's looking rough from the heat. Pansy's looking super rough, super rough. This little tiny dahlia, which I don't know why he's taken so long to put on some size, but he's little, not even a foot tall. Why? Then I have a delphinium, which looks like a stalk broke, but interested to see how that's going to play out. Foxglove that I bought was completely yellow, and then when I took off the dead stalk for the seeds, it's turning green again. So I don't know, it's just using up too much energy or what have you. My friend Kate gave me this one. Hers bloomed. I don't see any sign of mine blooming, so we'll see. And dahlias, this right now is my favorite dahlia. I'll show you that in a second. My rose, it's beautiful, so can't wait to see if this one I can keep in my garden. Dahlia, this is the first dahlia I ever did last year. It's a beautiful fuchsia purple color. I had a bunch of tubers I gave away this year for that one. This one is getting ready to bloom up soon. Back behind these giant cosmos, I do have some gomphrena. See if I can show you some of those. Yep, gomphrena right there. And so you can see I got lots of dahlias back here. They're just not as big and tall and full as I thought they might be. That's a straw flower. This is a pretty dahlia, but she's a little aged, so, but the bloom on it's really pretty. And this one is past its prime. I'll see if I have a photo of it, but I can't wait to see more of those blooms come up. So, just coming around here to the front of the bed again. Like I said, these cosmos on this side just love their life. So I don't know what the difference is. Maybe they're getting more light than the others are. If I had known they were going to get this tall, I'd have planted them further into the bed because they're kind of right by the edge, but I still love them. And I did underplant them with the transplanted snapdragons in white to try to fill in that area some. Some of the alyssum is actually blooming. This is actually alyssum I did from seed. This one I bought. Why is this taller? This is shorter. I can't tell you. And he's doing really good. Got some green tips on him, so I'm excited to see. And I've been trying to keep him watered to make sure they establish well, because I don't want to lose my perennials. Let me show you the containers I planted up in a previous video. Doing okay. Still super green for what I was looking for, but you know what? First year to try something without following someone else's recipe. So this one is daisies and gazania, which it is just like a green octopus. I just have to like it for its texture because not a whole lot of flowering is going on with this thing right here. I mean, the gazanias are so far in, they're hard to see. Then I have celosia, which is a really pretty grass situation. This is looking really pretty. And then it's underplanted with lubella, which is done well. And then the other purple one, it's been struggling a little bit with this heat, and I forgot the name of it right off the top of my head. These guys are super cool, and they are in all kinds of colors. The same, I think it's the same plant, blooms like 4 or 5 different colors. And this mess right here is actually it getting its seeds ready, so I can collect seeds from it and try to grow it next year. But it's a nice texture. It's kind of waxy, like almost like a succulent kind of texture. Dusty Miller hanging in there okay. And then these are asters. Same asters as these over here, but these ones I planted like a month ahead. Look how small those are. So I know get started earlier and they'll get tall. I think these are China asters, so they're going to be big ones. I'm excited to see the color. This over here, starting at the bottom, we have more tetrafew, followed with the lubella. I think this is the most successful version of my planting, where I have a little bit of a spiller and one that's a big shower. I think those worked out really nicely. These pots, not so much. I had alyssum at the bottom, died. Just did not enjoy it. Maybe it didn't get enough sun, enough water. I don't know. Look who's here. She hasn't been here in a few days. Hi, girlfriend. Hello. And these are some really pretty marigolds that I grew from seed this year. I love this color. This creamy yellow color is really, really nice. Really pretty. And my first year really getting to understand these straw flowers. So this is kind of what it's starting to look like as it opens up. But if you didn't know about straw flowers, you hear it. It feels like paper, and they last a really long time, I've been told. So I'm excited just to watch them. I don't really cut my flowers, at least yet, but this is a really interesting one. I grew it from seed. Really cool. So while the underplanting of these ones did not go well, I think total together they look really nice. Like it's giving me this nice tall, almost wall feeling. Yeah. Got someone begging for some food now. Hey, girlfriend. Some more asters. So this is the same as what I saw on the other side. You can kind of see the difference between the sizes here. This is getting kind of cool looking. Y'all see that? And then the purples, again, looking really nice. And my green octopus of daisy and gazania. So when I step back, what I like about them is the height in the back gives like this walkway a more divided feel. So it feels like they are separate places, but you can still walk through them. Garden cat. Quick one I forgot to mention was the couple of planters we did that my husband picked the plants. Doing all right. So we've got a petunia, a super bells, both in the yellow color, a white knight, and a diamond frost euphorbia. This is how I know I like the white knight, because it's spilled so nicely. I've just recently trimmed it up to let it revamp. So this one's still working on getting its bloom going again. But looking all right. And then my last one, which isn't planted anywhere, is my hibiscus. I'm still deciding where I want to put this guy, but I do need to put him in the ground soon. So, yeah. Last but not least, my willow bed. So this one, again, it was meant to be very low maintenance. I planted some more astilbe here this year. 2 of these were from last year. The hosta came from my neighbor. She had huge hosta bushes, so I took some and created this ring. So we're just waiting for them to get bigger and fill in. And then in the middle, we just have coleus and a couple different variety of impatiens to just fill in. Well, somebody was in here digging in my yard. Look at that. So I don't try as hard on this one. I just make sure it stays moist enough for everybody over here, because again, it's still really like moisture. So this part of my yard, when it actually is wet, will stay wet longer. So that's why they're here. But I'll give you guys a back up view of my willow. What we did this year too is we bought a pole saw, because our neighbors have this tree line here of I don't even know what it's called. They were bushes at one point, they're trees now, but they're so tall they touch the willow and basically make it so that the willow is only thick on one side. You see how it's only so the sun doesn't beat down over here. So we cleaned up some of the brush to help the willow fill in on this side, so we get a nice full tree. So excited to see when that happens. I don't think I've ever really shown the back of my property. This is just the very back. Usually grows really wild. I would love, in a perfect world, that this would be an evergreen hedge back here, because in the winter we see our neighbors back there, which is condos. I'd rather it be full green all year. Maybe sometime in the future we'll try to work on that, but for now in the summer it works out well. This is a new addition this year, this rhododendron. Beautiful. It's like a, what is the name on it? Purple passion. Beautiful dark purple leaves. Pretty fast grower if you look at all the really light green color. So I'm excited to see how quickly this one fills the space. Since this is a shade area, we want to just lean into that shade loving plants. What I did do differently, this big dead piece was a wild rose. We have them everywhere, and you can actually see part of one of the other parts of that bush. They're just every freaking where. But the reason I cut it, because it's actually got pretty white flowers, is it was hiding this beautiful birch, and I love birch trees. It's one of my favorites. So I cleaned that area out, and we'll see in coming time, years, whatever, I will try to get more of the rose out and create more of a bed over here. I think that would be really pretty. But for now, just really my roadie holding it down in the back here. Thanks guys for watching my August tour. Have a great day.